Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you are enjoying this show, you can also check out the Premiere Boys Podcast, hosted by myself, Aaron Keatok Sands, the Star Rider Rod, and Long Live Chief Mighty Mal, where we discuss everything that's going on in the culture, from love, relationships, music, sex, politics, and many more. We can make you laugh, but the show could get a little raunchy, and it may not be for everybody. But if you are curious to listen to the Premier Boy podcast, you can tune in to the Premier Boy podcast every Wednesdays at 12 a.m. or all podcast platforms, a part of the Premier Powerverse Network. Other shows that you can check out on the Premier Powerverse Network is King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands every Friday at 12 p.m. Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Rider Rod every Monday at 12 p.m. And Welcome to the Trilogy hosted by Long Live the Chief Mighty Mel every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Listen and support every show in the Premier Powerverse, including this show, Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, who is also a part of the Premier Powerverse Network. Thank you for listening to this message and check out the show. Chill! You are now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 9. Chill! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, one fourth of the Premier Boys Podcast, and your host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. And on this episode, we have a special guest. We have an educator, we have an author, we have a poet, we have an actor, and he have a book called My First 17. And we're going to talk to him about his many things, from being an author, being a poet, actor, and many more. This was a really cool conversation, and I can't wait for y'all to hear this episode. And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
Hey, this is Chef Ashley A. Torres, owner of Chef Ashley A. Torres Catering, and you are listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, it's time for Mr. Gentleman Facts, quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is always take risks. And I say this because if you are not taking no risk, you're pretty much okay with staying where you're at. When you take risks, life can get even more clearer and you could experience way more. So make sure in life, always take risks. You just never know where life can take you. And that is today, Mr. Gentleman Facts, quote of the day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, and I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Off Series Thursdays, where we have all of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast spin-off series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcasts every first Thursday at 12 a.m. the old school show with myself and the Star Riding Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, The Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com, and tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheer!
My name is Jeffrey Charles Fleming, and you are listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I got my special guest. We have a poet in the building. He is an actor. He is an educator. He has a book called My First 17. We got Mr. Jeffrey Fleming in the building. Jeffrey, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Yes, I'm doing good. And welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So glad to be here.
Yes, anytime. And before we get to anything, I'm gonna ask you some icebreaker questions.
Sure.
So, the first thing first, where are you from?
I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia.
Okay, nice.
But I live in DC right now.
Okay, dope. So, how would you describe yourself as a person? Give me 3 words.
Passionate. Patient. And persistent.
Okay, those are good picks. I'm not gonna hold you. Those are really good picks. What is one thing that give you peace?
Music.
Of course. Music. Yeah, I feel you on that too. Music also give you peace as well. So that's a good answer. And what is in your headphones right now? It could be an album, a song, or even a podcast. What are you listening to right now?
A mix of Brandy and Beyonce. And probably a little bit of Monica. I'm a huge Brandy fan, and so I'm getting ready for the tour that they have coming up, and I'm trying to get Monica's music in my system so I can know it because I'm not as familiar. And I just went to see Beyonce a couple of months ago for Cowboy Carter, so that's still on rotation.
No, that is really dope. So you know what? Random question. Since you mentioned Brandy, because I love Brandy as well. What is your favorite Brandy song?
Have you ever?
Good pick. I go ahead to say Almost Never Count.
Nice.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Brandy songs right there. So let's talk about your beginning of life. So how was you growing up?
Growing up is cool. I was my only child. I was the only grandchild on my mom's side of the family. I didn't really know my dad until I was like 10. So I didn't really get to have that connection. But on my mom's side of the family, there was a lot of love, a lot of love. My mom surrounded me by a village that's still keeping me strong to this day. Even the days I don't really feel strong, I know they're there just keeping me in the back of their mind, praying for me and stuff. It's amazing how prayers can really last for a lifetime and covering. I was thinking about something earlier. I was like, ooh, I wish sometimes I didn't have the protection I had over me. But then like, nope, actually, I'm grateful for it. So, yeah, I would say definitely a blessing to just grow up when I did, where I did, with who I did grow up under. I started acting when I was in kindergarten. I was a munchkin. That was my first time being a munchkin. I played a munchkin 4 times now. Looking to play it again. But I got bit by the acting bug then, and always wanted to do it since then. I would say growing up was also challenging at times because I wasn't fully confident in myself in a lot of different areas. Um, yeah.
And thank you for sharing that, by the way. Thank you for sharing that. And how all that you've been through made you the person you are today.
We all have the trials and tribulations that we go through. Um, I think for me, my mom exposed me to a lot of stuff growing up, like things that she didn't get the opportunity to be exposed to. So I consider myself having like a diverse portfolio. We're very well rounded. Um, Sometimes too well rounded to the point where it's like I'm not hyper focused on one thing, which I think is for me, it's okay. Like I recognize that because when I need to lock in, I lock in. But that's just boring for me to like hyper focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for that experience. Like, and for me too, once I, it's funny, like once I kind of learned about Brandy because I didn't know about her until Cinderella. But like I was like, oh, that's the kind of life I want. Like TV, movies, music, all of the things. I wanted all of that. I still do.
I feel
So
you.
it's
I feel
like
you.
she's like my beacon, my guiding light in so many ways.
And, and I feel you on that. Want to focus on multiple things. Cause I'm the same way. I can't focus on just one thing. I gotta have to do like many things, like acting, music, and stuff like that. So I feel you on that 1%. So thank you for sharing that, for real. Thank you for sharing that. So one thing you told me that you are an educator. So what made you want to go that route?
Ah, um, so I'm officially not an educator with a full time job now. I left my full time job at the end of this school year. But I was tutoring one summer in college. Some students in like kindergarten, first grade, I think it was. Um, and there was just some students that I could just see were struggling with some concepts. And there was one student in particular, she really struggled with this one concept that we were teaching her. And I was like, oh, I think I could do this, like the teaching thing. So I stayed with the tutoring program because it was like it was a well paid job. Like during college, it was like $21 an hour back in 2010. So that's big bucks back then for a college student. But then after I graduated from college, because I was on the 5 year plan, I studied business in undergrad. After I graduated from college, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and try and do this teacher thing. And at first, I was considering like how to get into a master's program, but that wasn't something I felt like was really viable for me because I had a business degree, and so I didn't really think that that was going to be possible. And so then I went and I started like looking into because I moved back home to Richmond after I graduated, so I didn't really have a solid plan lined up. Um, but I was looking at Virginia Union University, and I applied to like I was trying to apply to do their undergrad teaching program, and the lady was like, "You already have a degree. Don't waste your time doing the bachelor's again. Just go down the road to Virginia State and apply for their master's program in teaching, and they have open enrollment." I was like, "Okay," not thinking much about it. So I did that, and I got my master's in special education. Um, but I knew I wanted to like be a classroom teacher. Um, but I started out in special education, and so I did that for 7 years. And I'm grateful for the experience. Like I tell people all the time in education, like if you're gonna go into education, start out in special education because if you can make it through 3 to 4 years of that, you can make it through teaching general education. Like it's a totally different um it's a different mindset you have to have. It's like a certain patience you have to have. You have to be organized, and just open minded to different things all the time. With education, and you got like I said, you got to be on top of your paperwork. So if you can make it through a couple of years of special education, you can make it as a general education teacher. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed my experience. I just knew that for me right now, I really wanted to get into a space where I can focus on being an artist, and it's very hard to focus on being an artist if you're a teacher.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I needed to take a step away. Time I had been wanting to leave since before the pandemic, and it's just like I just need to go ahead and put it in. This was I just completed my 7th year in my school, and I'm big on numerology. Not like an expert, but I know like the number 7 is the number of completion. So I was like, well, this is it. And I kind of teeter tottered about it for a minute. I told my boss, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna come back. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah. And then I was like, and then I had a meeting for a student of mine. I was like, oh, I think I want to come back. And then like maybe a couple of weeks later, the universe was popping up that number 7 again, a couple of times, and I was just like, well, okay, I'll listen to you, universe. I said I'm gonna leave, so go ahead and full on commit. So yeah, a lot of people are like, "You're not really leaving." I'm like, "No, sadly, I am. I gotta take a minute for me." Because also as a teacher, it's not the healthiest profession with the amount of stress that is involved with it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to take a step back as well to like do something that is good for my health, and being able to create right now is really going to be good for my health because I get to heal through it. I get to take my time and do what I want to do. There's going to be, of course, a stress to the aspect of like where's the income, but
Yeah.
the protection is there. I'm not worried about it. I know that it's going to be all. I'm going to be good. I aligned myself with things to transition out some time ago, so I am content with my experience as a teacher, um, and I will pat myself on the back and say I was pretty good at it. So, yeah.
Well, one thing that I got to shout to you though for doing something that you believe in and taking that big risk of leaving, being a teacher to doing something that you love. So shout out to you for that because that take a lot of courage. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah.
I dive into you being an artist. So you're a poet. So what inspired you to start doing poetry? And what age did you start writing poetry?
So me and poetry have a love hate relationship, or had a love hate relationship. It was something that I could not really get into growing up. And I think it's so weird because as much as I love music, um, but I just didn't understand the art of poetry. And I think I was under the impression that it had to be done a certain way. And so once that kind of unlocked that block for me, then I was able to really tap into poetry. And so I don't remember exactly when I got into it, but I know that at some point around the pandemic is when I really started to um, write a lot more. So I'll say that was like the turning point for me. So 32 going to 33. I was writing poems that were connected to things with George Floyd, just how I was feeling, and it just kept flowing. So now I'm at a space where like I'm trying to build the muscle to like write daily. I haven't gotten there yet because I'm trying to shift my mindset about the work of an artist, because I'm reading this book right now called "We Need Your Art" by Amy McNeil, and I've been following her for a while on Instagram. One of the things that she's like saying, she's always been saying on Instagram and even in the book, is that like you can make crappy art, just make something, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just continuously make something, because the more you make, the more that muscle will build. And being somebody that's like getting more into the gym, I understand like it's the consistency of it all. You can't. I'm not saying I can't claim myself as an artist, but if I'm doing it sporadically or when inspiration hits, then it's gonna take a while for me to get the not the numbers up, but just like make my, especially for poetry, make it more Like with my first book when I was kind of get it edited, I worked with this guy. I found on Instagram. I love Instagram. I found a lot of people support my art. And but he told me, he was like, you have great poems, but like you cut yourself off so short. And I'm not one that's really great at like editing my poems, and so that's the other muscle that I have to kind of work on. Is like, okay, I wrote the thing, but now I have to go back and look at it and be like, does it express a clear idea? Is it painting a picture that I wanted to paint? But the issue for me is that a lot of times when I'm writing, especially because I'm writing from typically from an emotional space or from just some kind of like inspired space, I'm not. I don't remember what the poem was, and so like I have to really trigger my memory hard to like figure out what was that thought that came to mind when I was writing. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I'm grateful to that I have found an appreciation for poetry. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So you did say you released your first book called My First 17. Tell them what the title means. Tell us the process of getting that all together, all that good stuff.
Sure. So my favorite number is 17. I was number 17 in my class in high school all 4 years. Go figure. Um, uh, when I was in the choir back in Richmond, it's an all boys choir. My folder number was number 17. And then after I graduated from high school, the number 17 just kept popping up a lot. It's like I would see it out and about. And I did a speech. I was in Toastmasters some years ago, and I did a speech about the number 17, again, numerology. So the 10 is 7 is the number of completion, and 10 is the number of complete what is it? The divine order, I believe it is. So 17 is divine completion. And so that's like for me is really big. I could be messing that up. It's not right in my brain. I think I looked that up. But so that's how the 17 came about. And my first 17, I was like, I don't want to have to like put a bunch of poems out there. I want to just like get my toe wet into like releasing a book. And so I did 17 poems from the poems that I kind of wrote during the time frame of the pandemic and all the things that happened, with Black Lives Matter and such. So I would say maybe over half of my poems in the first book are in that theme. And then there are about about 3 or 4 that are just kind of like other experiences I've had with people. One is actually I think it's just one in this book. One is an experience that I had with a very complicated student situation a couple of years ago. It's like a dream that came to me one day. I was just like, "Ooh, that was interesting." So yeah, that's where my first 17 comes from. Just like get my feet wet, see what it's like, and the reception from it has been really good. I'm actually next weekend I'm going back home to Richmond, Virginia, to one or two tables vendoring my book. So that's nice. Really cool. One of them I got called to do it for the second time in a row. And the other one will be a different experience. It's going to be if I gotta get my accident to do it, but in Richmond, the Black Gay Pride like street vendor festival. So yeah.
Well, first, congrats on that. And if my audience want to check out your book, where can they check out your book?
It's on Amazon. That's the only place that I have housed right now. If you want to hit me up, I do have some physical copies, but I'm going to be using those for vendor sales. But I might have some extra. I guess by the time this episode is aired, I probably will still have some extras lying around. Hopefully.
Okay. Okay. Nice. So, as an author, what have been your biggest challenges as an author?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is just being able to consistently write. Because not only do I write um, poems, but I I do consider myself a playwright, and I have one that I have been working on for at least 5 years, but I just don't pick it up enough because I'm always waiting and looking for the inspiration, right?
Yeah.
But I know like where I want it to go. I just have to. The biggest thing I have to figure out for that play specifically is some aspect of conflict. And so that's just where I'm at right now. Is like needing to figure that out. But I think just again the consistency of writing, being able to sit down and take the time. It doesn't have to be. I don't have to write for 5 hours starting out. I just need to get to that building that muscle of writing every day. So I have like a calendar invite for me to do it twice a day in the morning and the afternoon to read and to write. And I fail at that every day. But at least it's there as a reminder to do it. But I just need to literally put it in my schedule, like set an alarm to stop, drop everything, and do it in that moment. Yeah, that's the biggest challenge.
Okay, nice. So, what is the goal that you want to achieve as an author, and what you want your audience to? What message you want your audience to get out of your books?
What's my goal as an author? I mean, who doesn't want their book on national bestseller list, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that's the goal, but it could be a dream or goal. I think also I just want people to. So one thing that with my first book, um, when I shared it with some people because I'm busy. I'm in the gay men's course in Washington D.C. And one of the guys that bought it, he's white and he has a black husband. And something he said to me at one point, he was like, "Thank you for sharing this book. Um, my husband read it or they read it. I can't remember how he said it, but there was a realization for his husband. I think that there were some things he hadn't processed and said out loud to his husband, the white guy, about things that happened with George Floyd, and all of that, the pandemic and just everything kind of race related. It's probably surface conversations, but not like the deeper things. So I think the biggest thing is art is always supposed to push the needle forward. And so if my art in some way starts a conversation about something on theme, off theme, in any kind of way, I know that I've made an impact, and that's the goal for real. To push the conversation forward, to inspire somebody else, like somebody has inspired me. That's the bigger goal. What was the second question?
What about you want to bring to your audience?
Yeah, always love. I try to lead with love, just because how I was raised. Not perfect, but I always want love to be felt in my work in some way. And I know that I love to go and see other people, especially like plays, and see a message of love just there. And I try and find messages of love in things, even when it may not be dead center, like most prevalent, right? And so that's something I think for me is just love.
That's a good answer. So you identify as a queer man. So how has being queer opened up to your experiences as an artist?
Whew. Um, it took me a while to get to a space to be comfortable to say I was queer, gay. Um, but it's something I've always known. This is part of me. Um, and it's helped me to express myself more as an artist. And I still have a lot of room to go, and space to go in my expression as an artist. But being in the chorus these past 3 years has truly exposed me to different ways to express myself. It has given me a totally different confidence than I ever had before as a gay man, and then just being able to think again shed a light on somebody else's story, being a light as an example, so that somebody else can kind of follow in my footsteps in any way, um, in whatever way that would be. Um, that's what I would say. How being queer has really opened me up as an artist. Um, 'Cause they're both huge gifts to have.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. So you already mentioned this already that you are an actor, and you already talk about like your first roles and stuff like that. So as an actor, what have been your biggest role so far?
Mm. So I would define my biggest role as one that really pushed me and challenged me the hardest. And there was a play I did for DC Capital Fringe, which is no longer around, in 2018. So like right after I got here back to DC, I moved to DC in 2017. And I was the play is called The Confederates, and it was like a 3 act play. Um, and I was playing a slave role, um, and there was 3 iterations of my character. So the first one was um, a typical stereotypical slave role, um, who was I was kind of fighting with the Confederacy, and trying to essentially like being the same character, but 3 different iterations, meaning I have to bring to life the same character uh, different ways in my body, mentally, um, emotionally. The tactics, I can't play the same thing because it's not the same character, but it is. I think that was the most rewarding for me, and most challenging. Like I said, um, yeah.
Okay, that is dope. That is dope. So if you could collaborate with anybody, whether with your acting, with the book, or even a poet, who would you want to work with and why? Give me 3 people, like your dream people you want to work with. I think
All
I
right.
think I think one of them you probably already mentioned one of them already. I think you
You
already
already
mentioned
know
one.
that's coming. Brandy, for sure. If anybody knows me, they know that I'm gonna always say her. Um, it's gonna happen one day. I know it will. And I don't know. I don't care what lane it is in music, acting, writing, because she's a little poet. She got her little. She has her not her little her autobiography or memoir coming out sometime
Mm.
within the foreseeable future, next year maybe. Um, with the tour, I think things got pushed back with that. Her, Kwame Alexander, who's a
Mm.
poet. He wrote the book The Crossover. Um, his poetry is so beautiful. Like it's the style of how he writes it is it's an active voice.
Mm.
Um, but it's like a through line story. And so I think that's for me like it's really big. Is as a person who likes telling stories, Um, I like I like it when it's a consistent story across the board. And so him, oh, who else would I want to work with? Oh, I'd want to work with the future me. Wow, yeah,
and,
because
and
my future is getting brighter and brighter every day.
mm,
So I want to be able to collaborate with me heavy. Yeah.
and anything possible, man. Like as long as you put your mind to it, anything is possible to keep going and keep killing it because you're already killing it. And I work with you now, so that's a start. That's a start. So yeah, so shout out to you for that. Shout out to you for that. So one thing that I always talk about my show when it comes to many things, because we deal with a lot in life, mental health, and we deal with the recent election, we deal with pandemic, and a whole bunch of stuff, and mental health being a big thing. So my question to you is, why is mental health important? What have been your biggest challenges dealing with mental health?
Mental health is extremely important because it's also attached to your physical health. Um, Something I've had to correct myself on a lot recently is like the words that I say about myself out loud, or things that I kind of wish about myself or jokingly wish about myself, um, and had to put a pause and be like, oh no, wait, my body doesn't recognize that these are jokes. Um, my my tongue does, my brain may, but the physical body does not. And so um, I know for me, as of the last two years, with me kind of being very much more consistent in the gym, my mental health has I've gotten stronger physically and mentally, and they go in tandem. Like it's I'm not sure. Uh, I would love to have the six pack, all those things. Cool, that'd be nice. But as I was in the gym today, I was like, oh, I love my body. This thing is dope. Like it's really cool. Seeing the growth and progress of it. But being able to recognize it, you have to love on yourself, and speak positively to yourself. And knowing that everybody doesn't have that capacity sometimes because um, their body is meant or their brain is wired differently, mentally. Um, it's key to have someone, whether it be a therapist, um, your journal, or a very good friend, to just be able to like get some of the things that are in your head out of your head, because we hold so much in our heads, especially with so much information coming into us. One of the ways I keep my peace, I've always done this, is just not be a news person. I don't like news. It depresses me to no end. If I'm getting news, I'm gonna get it secondhand and I'm going to go research it myself. But if I continuously consume it, that's when I get um, fully overwhelmed.
I
Um,
feel you. Yeah.
when when um, when George Floyd was murdered, I did not watch the video, and I have a poem in my book actually, called 2 Seconds, because I eventually took the time to like try and watch it, but all I could really watch was 2 seconds. Um, and for me, I think it's a thing of anxiety where, oh, that could have been me. That could
Yeah.
that could be my brother. That could have been my uncle. That could have been, my best friend. And it's all the could have beens build up really quickly when those kind of things happen. And so I don't engage in news. People are like, you need to know what's going on. I'm like, I will find out when it's time for me to find out the way I need to find out, because that's not going to help me in any way. I've never done that. So that's how I keep my peace. And again, I'm gonna if it's something that I need to know about, I'm gonna read up on it, research up on it, and I'm not gonna just like read one source. I know I need to read multiple sources, so I can be well informed. But I prefer to not watch the news to get my information. So,
And I feel you on 100%. I ain't gonna hold you. At one point I was a big news person when I was younger, but then once 2020 came, I couldn't watch the news at all because I could start getting anxiety and panic attack behind it. So I feel you on that 100%. And mental health is very important. That's why I spoke about it on my show with all my guests because it does need to be spoken about. And thank you for sharing that because thank you for that. It's really important. And yeah. So we will switch gears a little bit. And what other project you got going on that you have not spoke about yet? Because you definitely spoke about a lot, but what other stuff you got
yeah,
going on that you have not spoke about
yeah.
yet?
So I'm slowly but surely again working on this consistency in the writing. Slowly but surely working on up my second poetry book.
Mm.
It's going to be a tribute to my mom. Um, the working title right now is Your Voice. Um, I'm an only child, and the way she raised me, um, people know like we're like this. We're like this. It's my rock, and so it's going on 3 years in August. That I haven't had. Oof, that I haven't had her with me. In the physical, but she's always there in spirit. Um, yeah, that's what I'm working on. So my original goal was to have it out by this year on her birthday, but I'm gonna try and aim for next year. And if not, then sometime soon. So that's what I'm working on. As far as poetry, and I already kind of have an idea for a third book that I've started writing poems on, but I can't talk about that right now. But it's really cool to just have that in my back pocket, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and then I am going to be in a play in November. This is a new.
Nice.
Um, it's I believe the title is still standing. Is the Haverson Howler. So it's a play set in the '60s about a grocer that inherited the grocery store from his father. Um, and the business is kind of dwindling for him. And so he and his wife come up with this idea to create a mythical creature that is going to drive business to their town. I mean, to the store. And so my character is coming up from the south, and I'm trying to film and catch the mythical creature on film. And so it's a it's it's a comedy. It's hilarious. I can't wait to put it on its feet. We did a stage reading back in May. Yeah, back in May we did a stage reading. And in April, it was top of May, I can't remember. We did like a 2-day workshop of reading the play and kind of going through and cutting things out, making sure that some things made sense and flow and things like that. So that was cool. Yeah, that's all I have that I know of as of right now. But some other things may pop up that I'm also trying to work on. So yeah, excited for the future.
Nice. And looking forward to everything you're about to do. And I might bring you back for a future episode of the Gentleman like the podcast. You can talk about more about the book that you got tribute to your mother and many more. So I look forward to everything you're about to do.
Thank you.
And what do you have to say for anybody going the same route as you? Say something inspirational, with being an author, poet, everything this year, everything.
So I'm looking at a piece of a painting I did sometime, I think maybe during the pandemic. And the word dreams is there 3 times. Um, hold fast to your dreams. Like it may be cliche, but like I get amazed so often how people say, "Oh yeah, I wanted to do this for my life." Da, 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 da. I'm like, and what's stopping you from doing it right now? Um, uh, Cinderella reference, Brandy, Whitney Houston. Um, Many people dream about doing things, but then they end up not doing them. Like, start somewhere. Rome wasn't built in a day. You chasing your dream is not going to happen overnight. Nobody technically really gets overnight success, because there's always a grind that nobody sees. It's that iceberg grind that you don't see, and then you see just the top of where they made it. But then even them making it is not where they may want to make it to. Yeah, create.
Yeah, there you go. And thank you for sharing that. There you go. That was a good inspiration. So before you go, we're gonna play a segment game called Five Random Topic. And I will ask you five random topics, and you give me a short and long response. I will also join in on this with you as well. Are you ready? Are you ready? All right. So the first question is, what TV show are you watching right now?
Working Moms. It's on Netflix. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Me right now, kind of embarrassed to saying this because everybody talking about this right now. Love Island.
I do not plan to watch that show. I don't like reality TV, so it's not gonna. I like scripted TV. I'm an actor. I like scripted.
There you go. I mean, I'm not big on reality TV either. I only watch selective, and I have to watch this Love Island like for the past couple of seasons. But this season, mixed feelings. I'm not gonna lie, mixed feelings. What is who is your favorite artist right now?
Always Brandy.
There you go.
Never not gonna Brandy.
There you go. For me, I'm gonna say Leon Thomas.
Okay.
You know, the one who can sing Mutt and stuff like that. He one of my favorite artists right now. Yeah. My next question is, what's your favorite fruit?
Fruit?
Yeah.
Apple.
Good answer. I like green apples as well. Peaches, grapes. I like fruits. I ain't gonna hold. I like a lot of fruits. What is your favorite holiday?
My birthday, Juneteenth.
Oh, there you go. That is a good. That's a good answer. I would say Christmas because I like a lot of the winter activities, stuff like that. So I'm gonna say Christmas. And the last one is, what talent that you wish you had?
Ooh, I wish I could draw.
You know,
if I could draw something to the likings of my likings, oh man, I'd be unstoppable as an artist. You would never be able to stop me.
I feel
I
that.
Can't draw but nothing but stick figures. Can't stand it.
You know, crazy. That's my answer too. I wish I could draw as well. Yeah, I wish I could draw as well. I want to create a comic book, but I can't draw for nothing. So I agree with you 100% on that. But Jeffrey, thank you for coming to the show. This was a dope conversation. Thank you for sharing about your book, everything you do, and thank you. And I'll definitely gonna bring you back for a future episode of MrGentleman Like That podcast. Once again, thank you for coming to the show.
Appreciate it.
And before you go, drop your social media where everybody can reach you, and drop where they can get your book. This is your time.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram heavily, primarily heavily. Whichever. Son of Howard, SONOFHOWARD. Because I went to Howard University. I don't know if y'all can see it in the background. HU, you know. My book is on Amazon. My First 17. Author name is Jeffrey Charles Fleming. Yeah.
All right, there you go. And thank you again for coming to the show, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. Now, I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spinoff Series Thursdays. And Spinoff Series Thursday is the new home for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spinoff Series. That brought to you shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast, The Old School Show, and Date Night Talk Podcast. And A Conversation About Music Podcast is a music spin-off series where we talk about anything music, from the current music scene and the old school music scene, where we interview many guests that's in the music industry and artists about their music journey. We have a segment game called the Face Off, which is a versus inspired game, and we have roundtable discussion about variety of music topics. And y'all can check out a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Now, the old school show that featured myself and the star Roddy Rod is a show where we discuss anything old school, from music, TV shows, movies, and many more. We also bring in guests to join in on the old school conversation. Y'all can check out the old school show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And last but not least, we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B, where we talk about anything relationship related topics like love, dating, relationships, cheating, the good and the bad, and many more. And y'all can check out this spin-off series, Date Night Talk Podcast, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. So look out for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Presents Spin-off Series Thursday, a conversation about music podcast every first Thursdays. The old school show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursdays, and Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays. And y'all can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays. And thank y'all for checking out this commercial break. And now back to your regularly scheduled program. True! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning into the latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thanks to my special guest, Jeffrey Charles Fleming, for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for talking about your book, My First 17 and Everything. It was a dope conversation. Thank you once again for coming on the show. And check out his book, My First 17, on Amazon right now. You could check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sunday for the main series and every Thursday for a spin-off series Thursdays, where we have shows like a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 p.m. Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Ms. Vanna B every second Thursday at 12 p.m. The old school show with myself and the star Ryder Ride every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. And the newest spin-off series Thursday show, the Top 20 Countdown Show, the series with myself and Jalen, coming in November. Yes, the date has been changed. It will be now coming in November and every third Thursday at 12 p.m. Also, Date Night Talk Podcast will be returning on November as well. Every second Thursdays. And a conversation about music podcast we will be returning in November. And what about the old school show? Well, those with many delayed, old school show will be returning in 2026. So, yeah, a lot going on with the old school show right now. You know, with Roddy, taking a break. Aaron Keith-Oxen will be guest host for the season. So we are working out the plan for the new season. And we will be bringing out the new season in 2026. And I will give you more info on the Top 20 Countdown show when November comes. So, yeah, look out for spin-off series Thursday shows lineup. You can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podchases. The more y'all rate, more people know about Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you want me to get on Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, Ken, YPGENT at gmail.com, or hit up on social media, Ken underscore Mr. Gentleman. I repeat, Ken, Ken underscore Mr. MR, Gentleman, GentleMan, and we can set something up. Cause I am still look for guests for season 9 and season 10 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, the main series, and all of the spin-off series Thursday show, including the newest spin-off series Thursday show that will be premiering in 2026, Date Night Talk Stories. So I am looking for guests for that as well. I am now taking guests for that right now. So hit me up if you want to be a guest, if you want to share your dating stories and many more, So yeah. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, where you could listen to the audio version of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You could watch the visual version of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast called Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV. And you can check out the Mr. Gentleman Facts Quote of the Day that will be dropping every Monday. Due to TikTok suspended my account, it will be no Mr. Gentleman Fact Quote of the Day for a while until we get that figured out. Once we get that figured out, we will be resuming Mr. Gentleman Facts Quote of the Day every Monday. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Also, check me out on the Premier Boys Podcast with myself, Aaron Keto Sands, Star Rider Rod, and Long Live the Chief Mighty Mal. New season will be announced coming soon. We will be announcing the new season coming real soon, so look out for that announcement coming soon. And every Wednesday, the part of the Premier Power Network. Other show you can check out on the Premier Power Network, King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands. You can check out all episodes of King Talk with Aaron Sands right now. Look out for his newest show, At the Hours with Aaron Sands, coming real soon. Also, check out all episodes of Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Rider Rod on all podcast platforms right now. He got a spin-off version of Star Time Podcast called Star Time IG Live Show on his IG Instagram channel, so check that out. It come on every other Friday, so check out Star Time IG Live Show on Instagram Live right now. And look out for a new episode of Welcome to the Trilogy, hosted by Long Live the Chief Mighty Mal, coming real soon. Listen and support every show in the Premier Powerverse Network. And it's time for your favorite segment. It's time for Mr. Gentleman like the shout-outs, where we shout out 4 to 5 shows and we give them their flowers. Last week we shout out 5 shows: Beer in Front Podcast, 12-3 Talkback, Catch the Vibes, Lot About the Fair Podcast, and The American Dreams in the Eyes of Immigrants. Check out the 5 shows that we shout out last week. And this week we have 4 new shows that we will be shouting out this week. First show we're going to talk about is Lavender Listen Podcast, hosted by Ash. And on this show is a music podcast where she discussed album, she discussed concert, she discussed awards, recaps, and many more. This is a really dope show. One of my favorite music shows that I like to listen to. And she is really dope. And she knows her stuff about music. And yeah, check out Lavender Listen Podcast, hosted by Ash Lavender. And yeah, dope music show. Check it out. Next show we're gonna talk about is the Pivotal Season, formerly known as The Lighthouse Within, hosted by Amber. And on this show, this podcast is for women who is ready to dive into self-discovery, personal growth, and reinventing yourself. Each episode is packed with mindset shift. You need to stop second guessing yourself. And this is a really good show. And shout out to her changing the name. That is a really good name. So shout out to you. And I really enjoyed the show when it was The Lighthouse Within. And I can't wait to see what the Pivot season is all about. Check out Amber Show. It's a really good show. Very motivated. You'll get really inspired in the show. So check out the Pivot season, formerly known as The Lighthouse Within. The next show we're going to talk about is Hard Rig Soft Life Podcast. And this is one of the newest shows that I started listening to. And Hard Rig Soft Life Podcast is a space for women who know what it's like to carry a little too much, but do show up anyway. It's for ones who had to make it life work even when their hair was not done. The money wasn't right, and life felt like it wasn't happening to them, but they're up for them. And this is, like I said, this is one of the newest shows that I started listening to. It's hosted by Melissa, and she dived into personal journey about herself. She talked to many guests about, many things. And so far, I like this podcast. It's really dope. I think everybody should check this show out. And check out Hardwig Soft Life Podcast. Really dope title. I like the title. It is really dope. And the last show that we're going to shout out is Mama's Life Podcast, hosted by Rosie, the Haitian mama. And this podcast discuss the ups and downs of motherhood seen through the eyes of a stay-at-home mom, and also discuss issues that women face in their everyday life. And this is a really good show. It gives many advice to mamas and how to raise your kids, and she's really dope. She was on my show many years ago, and she is a very supportive person. So this show is really dope. Check out the Mama's Life podcast and support her as well. Check out the fourth show I did mention for this week, Mr. Gentleman, like that shout outs, Lavender Listen podcast, the Pivot Season 8, formerly known as The Lighthouse Within, Hard Rig, Soft Light Podcast, and Mama's Life Podcast. And that is this week, Mr. Gentleman, like that shout outs. And of course, add me on Good Pies, Ken, Mr. Gentleman. You already know Good Podcast and many independent podcasts. You can see what everybody listens to. We can rate each other's shows. And we had the charts in at this time. Time for Mr. Gentleman Like That Achievement. But we spotlight everything Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast is doing. And of course, we got the Good Pod charts for top 100 shows. We are number 7 on the normal charts and number 3 on the any charts. And I'm not going to lie, I am pretty shocked that I am back on the top 100, the top 10 of top 100 shows. It's been a while since I've been on this chart. It's been a while since I've been high on the chart. So everybody that's been listening to Mr. Gentleman Like the podcast of season 9 so far on Good Pod, thank you. Really means a lot. And let's get back to the number 1. I had not been number 1 for top 100 shows in almost 3 years, which is crazy. So let's change that. And let's get back to number 1 on top 100 shows. For Society and Culture, we are through number 2. For Society and Culture, we're through number 1. We've been number 1 for 8 days now. And for Personal Journal, we are through number 1 for normal and indie chart. We've been number 1 for 15 days. So thank you everybody that continue to support Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. It really means a lot. And let's continue to support the show on not only on Good Pods, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podchases, on the official website, and every podcast platform where you can listen to Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. Thank you for continuing to ride with me. It really, really means a lot. If it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't be here. So, yeah, thank y'all. Thank y'all. And, of course, check out the official website of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com. Yeah, you can check out every episode of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast, all 253 episodes of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. You can watch every video of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. You can check out every guest profile who've been on Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast, all 82 guests, including Jeffrey profile will be on the website now. So you can check out his guest profile right now since the episode is now airing. So check out his guest profile. You can check out every guest appearance that I've been doing. More guest appearances coming real soon. The Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast guest tour starting now through 2026. So if you want me to be on your show, hit me up. I'm ready to be on your show. And go check out the official merch store of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. www.MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast store.dasher.com, where we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, masks, hats, and many more. Support the merch store so we can upgrade your listening experiences. To check out the official merch store from MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast store.dasher.com. Check out the official website of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com. Once again, thank you for listening to the latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and continue to support MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Next week will be no episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. We are taking a 1 week break, so catch up on the first 6 episodes of season 9 of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On September 21st, we will be back with a new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. We have a returning guest. She is the host of What the F is Nana. And we got Naya back on the show where we just talk about 90s music and many more. This will be a really fun episode. I can't wait for y'all to check out the episode. Have a good day or night wherever you're listening to this episode.
My name is Heather from Wrestling Fans Insight Podcast, and you are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.